I think there's some news from Cape Breton that they had one of their biggest snowstorms in decades.
Yeah,
really?
I believe
Something
that.
like over a meter.
Anybody there online? Are you there online? And if you are, can you see and can you hear? I'm going to type that in the chat in case you can't. Oh, I got some yeses.
Good.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. Oh, great. So we've got several people saying they can see and hear. So that's pretty nice. Okay. Well, we just had somebody tell me that they noticed that all of the tunes this month are in the key of D, which actually isn't quite true. They are all in bagpipe keys, which has the bagpipe scale has those F sharp and C sharp in the scale, and G natural. So even if you're playing a tune in the key of A, you're going to be playing it with a G natural. So that's going to be reflected in the key signature of the printed music, but it's actually in the key of A mixolydian. You can also play in different modes. So you can play in A minor as long as you leave that C note out. It would be A Dorian. Or you can play in B minor. In that case, I believe it's B Aeolian. Or you can play in the key of D. And there are other keys you can play in as long as you leave out the right notes. So bagpipes just have this fixed scale. And that is the music this month, is focusing on tunes that are bagpipe tunes, particularly ones that I've collected, rather than ones where I like went into a particular tune book and said, oh, I like that one. These are more ones that I have heard and then asked the piper, oh, what's that? So I have some marches, I have some jigs, I have a couple of reels or slow reels and air, hornpipe. So we'll see how that goes. And so I know we've got a few more people finally showing up here at the live Fiddle Club, but I think Connie says they all sound alike and they all sound like pipe tunes. She's obviously playing through the music ahead. Okay, so I'll just talk a little bit about some of my sources while we have a few more people coming in. So one of these tunes I picked up from a piper in Iowa. I play a lot of Scottish dance balls around the country, and they often have a piper play for the Grand March. And honestly, I often hear the same marches again and again, because who doesn't play Scotland the Brave and a few other selections like that. But every once in a while I hear something quite new, and this piper in Iowa played something that I'd never heard before, a 6/8 march, and so I just asked him what it was. He told me, and that's one of the tunes this month. I also picked up some tunes from Barbara McOwen. I was in Boston last month, and Barbara McOwen, who has been a major performer and teacher of Scottish fiddle music in Boston area for many years, was the one who showed me, I don't know this particular tune, but certainly the collection it came from. I didn't know about this collection until I noticed that Barbara was pulling some tunes out of it. It's called the Edcath collection. So it's a pipe music collection. Then the other source is music that I picked up from the Ohio Scottish Arts School, which is a combination of harps, pipes, fiddles. They have drums. They have Highland dancing also. And the pipers there love to jam with the Fiddles, and they have their sort of piping jam tune collection, which they were kind enough to share with me. And some of the tunes from that source have been on my list. So I have a few that I got from there. And so tunes from all kinds of places. So I think the first one I'll do by ear here is from the Ohio Scottish Art School Pipers, their collection of tunes. And I'm just gonna go and see the people who just walked in for a moment right before I start, and I'll be back. This is a hard man.
No, stable for the moment.
That's good. I know. There's a cream or something you put on there, like the peg is. It's sort of like a lubricant or something that helps to. I got this little stick, like it looks like a piece of wax or something, and put on there, and I rubbed a little bit in there, but be careful not to put too much on.
Good.
Plenty of space.
Okay,
Okay, we're back here live, and I'm going to teach you a tune called the Fitty Boatman. It's by Ian Blair. Ian Blair is from Aberdeen, and he was with the Tannehill Weavers band at some point. And, or no, he's from Aberdeen, but the Tannehill Weavers recorded this tune. There we go.
Oh, okay.
You get my story straight. Anyway, this is quite a well-known tune. I know I've heard it many times before. And like I was saying, this was one of the tunes that the pipers at the Ohio Scottish Art School were jamming on this past summer. This is my personal collection of what I will call cool pipe tunes I have learned over the past few years. So let me play the tune for you so you get an idea about it. It's a jig. Okay. All right. So that one is a 4-part tune, but I think we're not going to have too much trouble learning it by ear because the 3rd and 4th parts are not super different from the first two. They're we'll get to how they're different, but I think if we learn the first 2 parts, we're going to be nearly there. Okay. So the pickup note is E. And we're working in the key of A. However, any G's that we might encounter would be G naturals. There aren't any in the tune, so it leaves the whole question moot. So it's using our arpeggio notes of A, C sharp, and E. And I'm going to tilt this just a little bit so that the video can see my left hand. So I have to move it over just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. Now you can see it. Okay. And a repeat of the rhythm pattern with the notes being different. So it's this is an F sharp note. So 2 bars together, it's okay. I want to make a clarification on that second measure. Stay on E here. There's only one note that's lower. So the 2 measures together again. I still hear people going to C sharp early. Stay here. That third, fourth note in the bar. An extra E, and then only the last note short is the C sharp. And we have electronic bagpipes joining us. So for pipe tunes, it's going to sound like we've got pipes.
It's almost as if I had like a clue of what the theme
I
is.
know. Isn't this amazing? You can play all of these tunes on pipes. All right, so let's try those first 2 measures again. I really want to get these clear because you're going to use that measure over and over and over and over again here. Now we got people going to C sharp again. Listen carefully. Listen first. E. Only the short note at the very end is only where you go to C sharp. Let's try it again. Ah, it's getting there. Yeah, okay, that's sounding good. That's sounding good. Let's move on to our next measure. This is bar 3 of the piece. So there's a D note to a B, and then climb the scale. Okay, 4th bar. See, that time you do get to go to the C sharp because it's the end of phrase, end of 4-bar phrase. All right. Is that good? Let's try the 4 bars together and we can use the pickup note here. Do you want to hear it first? Stay here on E. Again. E. Okay, I'm going to move right along. We're never going to get that one. Everybody's always going to be playing C sharp on that E note. But I am stating for the record, in the second bar, you don't get to go to C sharp until the end. All right. Second phrase starts the same way. I'm leaving it there. Hi, come on in. And you can put your case in the living room and set up your seat here, and that's great. All right. So the beginning of the phrase, same as before. And a pickup note for the next phrase. And that's new. And the end of phrase is just A. So the last two bars with a pickup. Okay. Are we good? We want to try that 4-bar phrase? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that 4-bar phrase with the pickup note is like this. Okay, so let's put the entire first part together. Remember that first 2-bar phrase is the same, and then the third bar starts the same, but then we have a first ending, second ending. So listen to how it goes with the pickup note. Scale. All right, let's all try it. More?
Sure.
Yeah, okay, sort of fine. Let's do it 2 more times. Okay, here we go. I'm starting to not pay attention to my own teaching. Moving right along, let's go to the next part. And don't worry, you haven't missed a lot because we're going to repeat a bunch of the stuff that we used in the first part in the second part. So are you in tune?
Maybe.
Maybe? Okay, here's my A, just in case. Oh, that's sounding very nice. Okay. All right. So the second part, pick up note is still E. And then we go up high. So let's find those notes. High A. So A, F sharp, E, C sharp. So this is the ear teaching portion. If you haven't, have you been to Fiddle Club before? Yeah. So just find a note. You can watch my fingers and use the same fingerings, and it's totally legal. And this tune is in the key of A, and we're going to keep being in A. All right. So the B part just has this new phrase. That's the only thing new about this second part. And the rest is plugging it in to the other phrases. So it's the new theme. That's the first ending, just as in the A part. And then we have our theme again. And then the ending. So it's a much recycling. Okay, any questions so far? The tune is the Fiddy Boatman. And it's sounding pretty good. So we got the first two parts. Let's try to put them together. The first theme for the first part is this climbing the arpeggio. No, listen here. This is my roadmap here. That's the first theme. The second part, the theme is up high, high A. All trending downwards. No going back up. That's the second theme. The other things we need to remember are the first ending. Climb the scale. That's the same first ending for both parts. The second ending for both parts is so we don't have a lot of unique measures of music here. We have basically 2-bar theme, first ending, 2-bar theme, same 2-bar theme, second ending. New part, new theme, same first ending, same new theme, same second ending. So the structure of this tune is very predictable. And so if you get any one of those elements, you know you're going to use it, and you know you're going to use it more than once. So try to find those elements and then worry about stringing them together as we go along. But you get any one of those elements, you're good for a good part of this tune. So let's go with the whole first and second parts. Second part. Okay, how's that working out?
We can probably
Some-
stand and do it a few more times.
Yeah, we will do it a few more times. I think we should go ahead and practice that a couple more times before we move on to the variations. But what I'm going to say, what I'm going to say about the variations is that they are not departing really far from what we've already got. We will still be using those same first and second endings unchanged. And the third part of this tune in particular is just a very tiny tweak on the first part's theme. So don't panic. There's not a lot more to learn here. There's just a little bit of change. All right, let's do the first two parts again. And I'm going to stop because in the real tune, you go on to the third and fourth parts. So I don't want to have us just mindlessly repeating 1 and 2 and get in that habit of not going on. So, but let's do it more than once with a pause in between. And one more time for the first two parts. Okay, ready for more? Maybe. All right. So the third part is basically taking those long notes, any of the quarter notes that are in that theme, and filling them in. That's it. That is all we have done. So all eighth notes. So let's play our first part theme, just as we did before. And now we're doing the fill in. Okay, how's that working out? Any questions on that? Now we just have to link it up with our first ending. Repeat that new theme with the fill-ins, and then second ending. So, do you want me to play that by myself first?
Sure.
Okay. So it really sounds very similar.
So may I ask a question?
Yes.
So I think the first one is da 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 stays on the same note,
Yes.
and then the others like they have the one on the first one is on one note, and the other two are on a different note.
That's right. This third part does not follow the pitch pattern exactly of the first part, because the first part, that's for 2 beats out of 3. But in the fill-in, you change after the first eighth note. And that's also true on the way up.
Only on the first one you stay on the same note. Dum da da.
Right. Well, that one already was that.
Oh, okay.
Right. The original theme is quarter, eighth, quarter, eighth. And here, when we fill in, we change. We go to the E and eighth note earlier than in the other one, because it just feels nice to do that. Likewise on the second half of it coming down. So that's a very good question to clarify that. All right, why don't we play it again? Okay, so the one place that you don't fill in is on the first and second endings, where you still have the longer notes, because that helps pace it. All right, we've got one more part. We good with one more part?
Mm-hmm.
Last part also is a sort of a fill-in variation, but it's not quite as direct of a fill-in. So again, we're going to have 6 eighth notes in the bar, but it actually, this is where we go wild.
Mm-hmm.
The tune actually has a different chord for a moment, and so for this tune, this is a real departure. As far as variations that other 4-part pipe tunes make, actually this is pretty tame. But here's what it does in the 4th part. We have the same E pickup note. That has never changed. And then we're doing a A and D. So that's the new chord. So let's just find those 2 notes. High A and then a D. And the rhythm is this. Now, this is one of the, I'm going to say there will be a number of examples of this where things that are perfectly convenient on the pipes that are slightly less convenient on the fiddle. This is one of those, because to do this D, A, and then D, you kind of have to be prepared to have your 3rd finger on both strings. You can move it, but then that takes time. It's slower. So I personally just park it on the 2 strings at once. Now, that's not necessarily the most straightforward thing to get perfectly in tune on both strings, but you have to try and practice that. But make it part of your repertoire because it's well worth it. There are plenty of tunes where you have to do something like that. So if you don't do it already and you're switching strings in the middle with your fingers, you're going to want to develop that skill of having it on both strings at once and being in tune. On pipes, I think this is much more straightforward.
That.
Yeah, right.
It's just you got to pick the right sequence of grace notes.
Right, you got to pick the right sequence of grace notes because it's repeated notes.
Right.
That's the challenging part for pipes. Whereas for fiddle, that's the easy part.
Right.
Yeah, but the switching between the A and the D, piece of cake. So, okay, that's half of our new theme. The second half of the new theme is. So it's continuing the same pattern of, 1 note, change, 2 notes on your triplet, filling in the entire bar with triplet notes. The thing that's different is it's not an exact parallel to the notes that are in the second part of the tune, unlike in the 3rd part with respect to the 1st part. That's why I said this is the wild and crazy part. It's not that wild and crazy, but relatively speaking, right? So the 2 measures, the theme of the 4th part put together is the A and D thing. That is our new theme. And now we're going to integrate it with the 1st and 2nd ending. It's not quite exactly the same as the 2nd part, but let me show you how it goes. New theme. 1st ending. Pick up note. Same theme. Doesn't do the high A thing there. It just goes right into the pickup note to the 2nd ending. So that's where, again, a little twist, because it's the final part And we got to do everything just a little differently here. So let's try, excuse me. Let's try integrating our new theme for the fourth part with the first and second endings. Okay, so filled in with D's and or A's and D's. First ending. Let's do it again. Okay, any questions about this part? Good so far? Shall we try it? Do you want to just do the third and fourth parts, or do you want to try the whole thing?
Whole thing.
Whole thing, okay. All right. Let's do it then. So, do you remember how it started?
What's on E?
Yes, E pickup note every time. That one's the
That's kind
constant.
of a Piper's joke.
Yeah. Yes, I know. Pipes always start with E, right?
Right.
Yes. Okay. Right, because it's there. Yeah. All right. That's the tune. We probably should play it another time at least. And that's playing it rather slower than jig tempo. Of course, you could interpret this thing as a 6/8 march, and the tempo then would be a little slower than the jig.
And be just a smidge more swung than that.
Yeah, and the 6/8 march would be a little pointier, and the jig would be a little straighter. Pipe style with jigs is often fairly straight, versus Scottish country dance style with jigs is always dotted, lilted. And the pipe marches are played with even more of that dottedness. It's just tighter.
So as a jig, you're saying is less dotted for the pipes.
Yes.
Mm.
Hmm.
In fact, most bands, it's going to be completely undotted. It's gonna
That's
be-
right.
They call it typing. It's just perfect eighth note.
Yeah.
rhythm.
Da, 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 da,
And a lot of
da.
that has to do with getting 20 pipers to look the same amount.
That's right. That's right. There's a practical consideration there,
Mhm.
but it is one of the things that distinguishes pipe jigs from pipe 6/8 marches. Not just the tempo, but the degree of pointiness.
What about ornaments? Still do
Oh yeah,
same one?
yeah. You can still do ornaments, and that's one thing about something like this where I'm presenting pipe tunes. For the most part, I am throwing out the ornaments because a lot of these ornaments are used by pipers to differentiate repeated notes. We don't need to do that on these other instruments. So we don't need those ornaments the way pipers need those ornaments. You will never see pipe music that doesn't have ornaments written in it.
But they're fun to do. Is
Right.
it still a good option
If they
for
fit
us
in,
also?
And it sounds cool. We do them too.
As a general rule, I think in tunes like this, you're not going to see a lot of ornamentation on eighth notes except to articulate them because we don't have a bow stroke. We've got to separate
Right.
notes by grace note. But on quarter notes and longer, there might be a two-syllable emphatic, like a delayed tap or something like that. You might see
And-
more complicated ornaments, but that's too long to explain.
And the other thing is that when I interpret this music for fiddles, accordions, other instruments, and it came from a pipe source, if there's a type of piping ornament that seriously affects the rhythm, I will integrate it into the rhythm of the tune.
Mhm.
And you will see it not as an ornament. It'll look like it's, oh, this is how the tune was written. Well, for the pipers, it might just be a quarter note with one heck of an ornament on it. But that ornament, what we hear when the pipers do that fancy ornament, sounds like a burl or a snap or something like that. So that in that case, it'll be written in. In this particular tune, I didn't have any of those. And also, I'll just note that my source for this particular tune, I said it was the Ohio Scottish Art School Pipers, and this was their jam session tune book. And when they jam on small pipes of various descriptions. It's probably, I think, considered not the thing to bring, 18 Highland bagpipes into one living room and have a jam session. It would, shake the timbers and all
Also,
that.
there's an issue of key.
Yeah. So when they want to be social and jam, particularly if they're jamming with other instruments, and they do at Ohio Scottish Art School, there are jams with pipes, harps, and fiddles. And these are three instruments that have very different needs. And the fact that they have such good jam sessions together is actually pretty remarkable. And it's great fun because you've got just such a range of sounds. Anyway, so when they jam on small pipes, they're not as fussy about the ornamentation. And so their little, the tunes that they shared with me were basically pipe tunes pretty much stripped of ornamentation. Because
those little throbby ornaments like grips and torluas and things like that, which often would get converted into melody notes, don't sound as good on a small pipe chanter because of the acoustics of the instrument. So they will remove those and just turn them into melody notes in a lot of cases.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing is that I think the small pipe tradition has just never been quite as codified as the Highland pipes. And you can see why, if you play Highland pipes in a band, it's really important for people to use the same ornamentation or it starts to sound messy. But if you're just playing small pipes and you're going to be jamming with mixed instruments, you probably could do what you want and it's not going to sound messy. Although I can say that it's an interesting situation with 20 small pipers all in one room doing whatever ornaments they feel like. It does sound interesting. but it's not nearly as crazy as it would be if there were 20 Highland pipers trying to do whatever ornaments they felt like.
Were any of them electronic or were they all acoustic?
People had everything. They had bellows blown pipes. They had shuttle pipes. They're quite popular. Shuttle pipes are like small pipes, but with you blow into the bag, which they're used to if they play Highland pipes. And people did bring other kinds of bagpipes, but they generally pick their quieter instruments for the jam, so that they're not, blasting away. That's the. All right, let's get back to the tune because we're going to play the whole thing, right? So all 4 parts, and we get a lot of recycling. Each part with its own theme. Each part with the same first and second endings. And the pickup note E. Okay. Anybody want to play it as a faster jig? No. All right. We'll leave it as is. Are you up for another tune by ear?
Yes.
And people online, you can chime in on this too. You want another one by ear? So always a little delay. So I was thinking we could either do a reel or an air. What's your choice?
Why don't we hear them both?
You'd like to hear them both? Email it to right. It's sort of try before you buy,
Yeah.
right? Okay. So the real again, actually, both of these are from the pipers in Ohio, but I heard them both in different ways. So the real I only heard from the pipers in Ohio. I never heard it anywhere else, and it's one of those tunes that I think is much easier for the pipers than it is for the fiddlers.
Okay, that's good to know.
But it's not hard to learn. It's actually harder to do, because the piper who wrote this was just like, I don't care about your string changes. The fiddlers are like, uh-oh, string changes. So let's see how I do with playing this, because I have to kind of like not do sort of autopilot, I'm playing for a dance type of reel playing. So the name of the tune is Kelsey's Wee Reel, and it's by Ian Symington. And I knew I would mess it up. I predicted I would mess it up. Okay, so I did it right. Like some percentage, more than half that time.
So I have a cheat for non-pipers.
Yes.
I'm looking at this.
Let's hear it
So
from the
the
piper who
first
plays fiddle.
The first three groups in the second part, and the first two in the third part, those high A's are not meant to be heard.
Right.
Because on the Highland pipes, which this probably would have been composed for, now it's the loudest note on the small pipes, so it kind of gets wonky on the small pipes.
Mm-hmm.
But on the Highland pipes,
it disappears.
The high A is the quietest note, and it's also harmonic of all of our drones. So you can create the illusion of this note disappearing and creating a staccato effect. It's often used to create syncopation,
right,
as well as staccato. So what a fiddler could do and convey the same effect is just skip those high A's that are kind of interspersed between an ascending or descending line.
Right.
And you see that in Clumsy Lover.
So you can't, right. There's a bunch of tunes like that. Delina Mackay has a little part like that.
And it's actually kind
of 4-part version of High Drive has
High Drive,
yeah.
There are a whole bunch. It's a very popular modern thing. It really only works on the Highland bagpipes and the border pipes.
Right.
Anything with a conical bore channel.
Conical bore. And the pipers do refer to these as syncopated reels. And the fiddlers will look at them and say, oh, there's eighth notes in the bar. What's syncopated about that? Right. But it all has to do with that, what Pete just said about
you see the jigs too, like Jig Run Rig has that. So.
Uh-huh. Right. It's not just restricted to reels.
Let's hear the air.
Okay. So the air is one that I sourced it from the Ohio Pipers, but I learned this tune a long time ago, like 30 some years ago. And I heard probably Leslie Patterson Webster playing it. And then I heard Buddy McMaster playing it. And it's called Longueval, and it dates back to World War I. I can tell you more about that when we learn the tune, but here's how it goes.
Okay, anyone want to put bets that's going to be on the September concert at the Virginia Games?
mean, you
That's
have a
pretty
type.
likely. Pretty
You have
likely.
a type.
Okay.
There's always an air like this.
Yes. That's really
Okay.
nice.
Do you want to learn the air or the real by ear?
Here.
The air. Okay. Connie also voted for the air online here. So, yeah. All right. We'll go for the air. Now, I played you the abridged version of the air because you're supposed to repeat each part, and it's a 3-part tune. The history of this tune, it's credited to pipe major George Stoddard. I guess there's some question as to whether he wrote it or arranged it, but it doesn't appear prior to 1916, and there's a reason. Longueval was part of the one of the places taken in the Battle of the Somme, which was in July of 1916. It was a 3-day battle. It was really intense. And there was the 9th Scottish Division, which was part of that whole push, obviously had a pipers as part of their division. Longueval was a village that was retaken by that particular Scottish division. And today it's the site of a memorial to pipers who fought in World War I. So that's the significance of the name. And I'm just going to go on about the correct spelling of this name, which is Longueueval, because it's French. Longueval. You'll see it sometimes as lounge spelled. That's just wrong. It has nothing to do with that. It's a French name, and it's a particular name of a village that was heavily involved in World War I. All right. So it is in the key of D. So unlike our other ear tune in the key of A, but with G's natural if they ever did occur, this one's in the key of D, and there are G's in the tune. I think whoever composed this tune was sort of thinking of French or other continental style waltzes. It frequently gets played as a waltz, probably more than it gets played as a slow air. All right, so pickup note is A. Okay, so, and it has this sequence. And those notes going up are the notes in the D arpeggio. It's an A note, a D note, and an F sharp. Let's play without the pickup note, just the 3, 3, and 3. Okay. Next 2 bars, we bump it up 1 note, but the same D and F sharp. Okay, next bit. So these notes, they're all part of the A arpeggio, but it's the A7 arpeggio. So it has a high A on top, G natural, E, and C sharp. So let's just find those 4 descending notes. And it's not only does it have a rhythm, but it's also lilted. It's swung. All right, the end of the phrase. This is end of 8 bars, and we're halfway through the A part. So putting the 8 bars together, here's what we have. And then B. The arpeggio. Okay, I'm going to go on because the next 8 bars is almost the same except the last 2 for the ending. So let's start at the beginning of the A part, play the first 8 bars, and go on for the next 8 bars until I say wait, and then we'll finish it up with a new ending.
Mm-hmm.
And this is new right here. Climb the scale from A to D. So let's put it all together and use that new ending when we get to it. 16 bars, the entire A part of Long Val. Repeat the A part. The first ending. Second ending, walk back up the scale. And then you would repeat the entire business. We already did it twice. Anybody want more practice on the A part? Or okay, let's go on to the second part then. So the second part, A pickup note, and then we're up to F sharp. That's our new phrase. Here's what happens next. So it's a D to the C sharp, up to high A, and returning to that same C sharp. I want to put the 4-bar phrase together. Everybody. Now the next phrase is the same, moved one note up, except at the end of it. Same pickup note, but then we go to G, listen. Bill, please listen for this part. And then that's different. For one thing, the pipes don't have a B note to go to, and it wouldn't make sense. All right, so our second phrase, find that G. Ends on F sharp. Let's do that a few more times. Now, what was that first phrase again? It's very similar, right? Yes. Okay. It's also the third phrase. So we just learned the next phrase. So let's go ahead and play 3 phrases of this. And the next phrase, the ending, is the same as the ending of the first part of the tune. So let's see if we can put that all together. How'd that work out? It sounded very melodious. Yeah. I mean, that's one big advantage of this type of tune, is that it's so singable that it starts to stick in your head. Of course, the pipe range is not the same as many people's singing range. Depends on what your voice is, what part you would sing in a choir. But I don't enjoy singing high A that much myself. But if I were a true soprano, I'd probably enjoy singing this pipe tune. All right, we have one more part, the third part. And I don't know what it is, but there are so many pipe tunes that have multiple parts. The odd thing is that it's usually 2 parts, 4 parts, 6 parts. I have more than one 3-part pipe tune today. So this one just has 3. So the last part, it takes that climbing scale that we have ended the parts with, and it uses it as the beginning. So it's simply scale work. Let's try that new up and down the scale. And the next thing is our repeated theme. Then up and down the scale again. And that's the entire part. It's reusing a lot of material. There's an error in the printed version in the third part, bar 4 and bar 12.
And the upper right corner.
Where's the upper right corner?
Where you say 30, book 30.
1.
Yeah, the last
Yes.
couple of pages show 30.
Yeah,
instead of
30.
It's really weird.
Oh, all of them say 30 instead of 31.
I thought the
Oh,
first couple of them said 31.
yeah, 19 and 20, and then all the others say 30. Oh, this is
There will be a reissue of music.
yes, indeed. I will do the corrections. I've already been noted several places where corrections are needed. So, it generally happens, you know.
Sure. I don't know how that happens in InDesign though, because that's weird unless
It's because my template got a little messed up.
mangled.
Yeah.
Do you want me to resend the original template or?
No. I just need to correct the template.
Okay.
No, but I can fix this.
All
It's
right.
not a problem.
Right.
But it's a problem because of the way I added pages.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this third part of long vol. It's the up and down the scale theme, and then mix in the repeated sections from other parts. And repeat the whole section. Okay, now I know we all want to practice that a bit, but let's go back and incorporate the whole tune. Because we're reusing our endings, we're reusing the dee da 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 dee da da bit again, and then each section has a pretty straightforward theme featuring in it. So the first section, how did it start? Yeah. So, and then briefly, the second part has it. And then the last one is the scale thing. All right. So from the beginning, it's with the pickup note. All right. So that's long ball. And okay, we could do another tune by ear, or we could move to sheet music at this point. Yeah. Sheet music, right. Okay. Is there anyone here who needs some sheet music?
Yeah.
Okay. And do other people print out sheet music? And is there anyone who needs a music stand? Oh, sorry. A little farther reach, right? Okay. I have spare music stands. Do you want one?
Oh, sure.
Okay. People online, I'm not gone. I'll be right back.
We have to switch to Fiddle. I'm getting a low battery alarm. Something that does not happen on acoustic bagpipes.
No.
How electronic is this?
Oh, it's completely electronic. So it makes all the sounds, comes out through this quarter-inch port, or sorry, eighth-inch port here. And the bag is just a chunk of foam, but there is a pressure switch right there. And the pressure switch takes the input from this cable, goes on the input, goes the pressure switch, input, and there's like a little splitter here. And then
So I have the sheet here for everybody to sign.
goes down.
Attendance.
So
That's
because
right.
unlike
So
the-
sign up on the sheet
Pass
that you
around.
were here and that you
Yeah, in case
Um,
you were here. This is the month of
yeah.
February, so if your name is not here, add it to the bottom
Mhm.
and check February.
Also, this is a time that we like to do some announcements, and I do have two announcements. One is that coming right up, starting soon, is the Barbara Salunis's workshop on how to prepare a competition set. It's for any level because you can enter a novice competition, intermediate, or open. And she's going to do a series, like I think it's about every 2 weeks for 4 times. And helping people who would like to get a good competition set put together with all of the things you need to know to do that. And it's a really good opportunity. So that has been announced. I think there's something on the webpage
I
about
sent
it,
out an
And-
email about it,
email about it.
and because I got everything out so late, we pushed the first date back to the 24th,
24th.
Right, the 24th, and then
and then the fourth date is good. Is TBD.
2 dates in March, and then to be determined, so that it doesn't run into too many other things. And speaking of other things, one other thing that is coming up is a Fiddle Club event that has been annual, but it was suspended for the last 4 years, and it's the Fiddle Club Dance. So there's a date for the Fiddle Club Dance, which is April 6th. And anyone who wants to play in the Fiddle Club Dance Band, there will be rehearsals for that. And we tend to use sets that are really similar to what we've done at other dances. Now, I know it's been a while for people playing for dances, so that if you haven't done it for a while, dust off some of the old sets. There will be more information given about what sets of music are going to be done. But the dance will be that Saturday afternoon, April 6th. It is at, the location is the Truro Community Center in Northern Virginia. It's in Annandale, I believe.
Now, what time is that?
What time? The dance is probably going to be 2 or 2:30.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that, I don't have an exact start time, actually. But Becky usually leads the rehearsals, and I'll have a program and set some music put together pretty soon, probably within a week or 2 at the most. So there'll be plenty of time
Yay.
for practice. And those sets will be available at the website so that participants can download the sets and practice. So that's something to look forward to again. We can have our Fiddle Club dance.
Sunday. Sunday.
It's a Saturday afternoon, April 6th. So yeah, it won't interfere with any of your other Sunday jam sessions or fiddle clubs or anything like that. Okay, so now we have a number of pages of pipe tunes. It's 6 pages. Don't freak out about that. There's really not any more tunes than I do in a month. It's just that a number of them take up a lot of space. And it wasn't possible to put more than 1 tune on a page. So it's not that many tunes. On page 19, we have Mrs. Lily Christie, and this is it's by Pipe Major Donald Shaw Ramsey, quite famous guy who's written a lot of pipe tunes that people know and love. And this is one of those tunes I told you at the beginning that these are pipe tunes that I've kind of collected as interesting pipe tunes and or ones that work well being played on fiddles and other instruments. This is one where I played a Scottish country dance ball in Iowa, and the piper for the Grand March didn't play the standard, Scotland the Brave and, the other 3 most popular pipe marches for the Grand March. Instead, he played this tune, Mrs. Lily Christie, and I thought, oh, well, that's cool. And this one is a little different. So
he played it as a march then?
Yeah, it's a 6/8 march. And so that's the first error on the very first page of this month's music. Right at the top, it says jig. It's a 6/8 march. It never was a jig. That's just plain old wrong.
Although if you shave off the dots and play it fast, you probably could turn it into one.
Oh, you could turn it into a jig, and I wouldn't stop you from using it as a jig if you really wanted to. But this is a march. I got it as a march. I heard it as a march. I want to play it as a march. So I will correct that. Our corrected music will be available in a few days. And let me play it for you. So I think one of the things that's really unusual about this piece is how much that G note features in it is quite unusual for a pipe tune to really reinforce that G quite so much. So that's special about this tune. Let's go ahead and play it. Okay, so that second tempo is a little more like a appropriate march tempo. Although if you go much faster than that, then it starts edging into dance tune territory rather than march. On page 20, we already learned the Fiddy Bowman by ear, so you know that one. The other one on the page is The Gathering by Gordon Duncan. And so I'm going to preface this one with, I took a trip to Boston last weekend, and I did a concert, and I taught a workshop for the Boston Scottish Fiddle Club. And in between, there was a jam session, which, you know, every once in a while, you just have one of those great jam sessions where you say, oh man, this was just the right mix of people and the right mix of tunes, and there was enough that was new and enough that was familiar that it was fun in so many different ways. And so last weekend in Boston, I had one of those jams. It was one of those memorable jams, and I was just like, oh, all the new tunes that I don't know very well, I want to learn them all. And the ones that I do know, it was fun to share. And so I just had a really good time. That does happen also with albums. I don't know what'll happen when people stop making CDs because everything's streaming. But there have been some of those perfect albums where I just listen to it and I say, oh, I want to learn that one and that one and that one and that one and that one, and we got to play that one. And you just say, well, that is one of those best albums. And I've had a number of those come along, fiddle albums, that I just wanted to learn everything on them. So I wanted to learn just about everything that happened at this jam session that I didn't already know. And one tune that was not already in my repertoire was this, The Gathering by Gordon Duncan. We've had a bunch of Gordon Duncan tunes. This immensely talented piper who is no longer with us and unfortunately died at like age 41. And I guess about 15 years ago now. So here's the tune. And this tune came up at the jam because I asked, do people here know the Soup Dragon, which we've played, another Gordon Duncan tune?
Really?
And as soon as I played the Soup Dragon, they all went into this immediately afterwards. It's like in their minds, these two tunes go together. So we can try that at the jam tonight if you feel like it.
This would also, speaking of 6/8 and jigs and marches, this would make an excellent 6/8 march.
It would be great for that. The only thing I can say is it's kind of presented as a jig in his book.
Yes. But just its melody lends itself to that.
It would work great as a march. Just slow it down, put the dotting in.
Yeah.
And I was playing it with some dotting because I can't help myself. I pretty much do. And so I have to consciously say, I will not dot this in order to play a jig straight. Or it has to be a Cape Breton tune where the dotting, if any, is quite light. But let's play it slow first, and then again faster. the gathering. All right, let's move right along. The next tune is one that I would say I kind of acquired indirectly from Barbara McOwen, who hosted that marvelous jam in Boston that I was telling you about last weekend. Barbara was the first person who I found out that she had acquired tunes from a pipe collection called the Edcath collection. It's out of print. It's been out of print for like decades, but there are a lot of good tunes in it. And this is one of the tunes from that collection. My only access to it has been online. So luckily there are ways that you can find some of these old tune books, particularly old pipe tune books. There's a site that doesn't have everything, but it has a huge selection called Kyol Shan. So that's a wonderful place. If you know you have an old pipe tune, you can often find more than one version in more than one book. And they have Edcath collection in there. So this tune, Gene Mauchline by Willie Bryson. So I did find something out about Willie Bryson. What did I find out about him? I probably... Okay, I don't have my notes on what I found out about him, but here's what I remember about it, because I looked him up. He was a piper who was involved in collecting tunes for the Edcath collection. And for the third volume of that book, the publisher put it together in part to feature his original compositions. So he was a piper composer. So here's the tune, and it is a march, and I did correctly label this as a 6/8 march this time. And I think there is a missing pickup note in there. Second line from the bottom, second bar. There's an eighth note missing, and I'll go find out what it is. I'll have to look that up back on the original source.
I'm guessing it's an F based on the.
It's probably an F sharp, but I can't say that absolutely for certain without looking and checking on that. So let's play. Okay. So that's Gene Mocklin. I'll look up what the missing note is and issue a correction. All right, let's move along to the next tune on page 22, which, by the way, is book 31, not book 30. We have Kelsey's Wee Reel, and this came from the Ohio Scottish Art School Pipers, and this is the one that I played you as a maybe learn by ear. I guess I'd better play it again, though, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna play it. Okay, focus, Elke. Or notes like that. All right, let's play it.
Sounds like a fun.
Slower, right? Yeah, those string changes are kind of wicked on fiddle.
They're unexpected. They weren't as hard though as I thought they were.
Right. I mean, it's more like I have this mental block on
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
so I'm having a problem with it. Also, it goes against my personal favorite bowing pattern for fast reels for dancing. And because it breaks that pattern, I'm like, whoa, and I have to do something different. It's not really that different. It's just offset from what I usually do. And it just freaks out my circuits. All right, we already learned Longueval, so we're going to go to the next page where we have Jock Brune's 70th. Now, this is classified in Gordon Duncan's book as a hornpipe, and I will just tell you that pipers and fiddlers see hornpipes and reels differently. So as a fiddler, I would call this a reel. It's customarily played slower, so it's almost a slow reel. But I don't really see it fiddle-wise as a hornpipe. However, from the piping perspective, there's certain things that make it a hornpipe. And I'm going to ask Pete to explain that.
Pipers are wrong. The piping definition of a hornpipe typically would coincide with the Irish term double reel. There's no hornpipe ending. And the other distinction is hornpipes in the piping tradition are played round or even eighth notes.
Versus
like
the
it-
reels in piping tradition are played very dotted
Right,
and snapped.
they take the Cape Breton style of slightly swung and slightly snapped, and they exaggerate it for competition. And in fact, actually, there's a story of Barry Shears playing a competition style reel, and an acquaintance of his popping her head out the window and saying, "Oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that tune as a Strasberg before."
Yes.
So pipers have a different nomenclature. Their hornpipes are basically double reels, unless it's got the bump bump bum ending, and then
And there are a few that
real
do.
proper hornpipe.
Yeah.
And you'll find some that are with swing written in, but those are going to be written in 2/4 typically. So if you see from a pipe collection, it's called a hornpipe. It's a double reel.
Also, I'll just take note. For pipe tunes, I often change the written meter of it because I don't like to read things in 2/4. I would rather read them
It's
in cut time.
obnoxious.
I think it's obnoxious to read dotted 16ths with 30-second notes, and I don't want to do it. So I'm going to change it into
It's easier for me for marches.
either 4/4 or
For 2/4
cut time.
2/4 march, I can read like that. 2/4 reel or Strasberg or hornpipe.
Anyway, I don't do it. So I changed the meter for all Fiddle Club pieces that are pipe origin where it just has too many horizontal beams. I don't do that many horizontal beams. I'd rather cut one of them out by changing the meter. So I do that consistently, and I have for 31 years. So I see this as more of a reel. And this one came up at this wonderful jam session in Boston last weekend. So
I guess since I defined this as a double reel, I guess I should explain that.
it's reel with extended form.
Yeah, it's twice the
It's
parts
not
are
16 bars.
Yeah, the parts are 16 bars as opposed
Right.
to 8 bar parts.
And an old style Scottish reel is natively a 16 bar tune. But
bar parts.
modern Scottish reels are frequently 32 bars. And they also sometimes you make use of hornpipe endings. We can think of any number of Shetland tunes, like all those Ronnie Cooper tunes that we did a couple years ago, that have dump bum bum at the end of the phrases. So you can't easily say reels stop here and hornpipes start there, but there's definitely a fuzzy edge. But this tune doesn't meet any of the definitions that personally I have for what is a hornpipe. Since Gordon Duncan wrote it, and he may have thought of it as a hornpipe, by his standards, I labeled it a hornpipe. So that was on purpose. But the last two lines are a harmony that's customarily played on the second time through the third part. So this is a 3-part tune with extra 2 lines that show you, okay, you can go to that harmony part. So let me play it for you. this is one of those mesmerizing tunes, and quite innovative in its styling, which was sort of a Gordon Duncan thing.
When pipers play this, it almost, but not quite, has a march quality in that it's a tune you could walk to and have it keep a steady pace.
Right.
It's got that forward driving motion.
And I am playing it sort of as a slow reel. Slow reel is not just a reel played slowly, it's a form. And there's kind of a zone of tempos where slow reels get played, which is not slow like a slow air kind of slow. It has a drive and a pace to it and a push to it, but is definitely not dancing tempo reels or even close. But it's just in keeping with, I think, the composer's intention. This is not really swung. It's played kind of straightforwardly, but one of the things that makes this tune have an interest and pulse to it is the cycling of the notes. I'm sure you noticed since two of the parts are heavily built on that.
Do you have any tips or suggestions on bowing? I think it was maybe I'm not sure if it was the second part or the third part. I was kind of wondering what you might be.
Okay, so I just go with 3-3-2 bowing, which is sometimes reversed in its. So that's kind of like. So I'm not doing anything other than down and up, except where I'm placing accents. So that 3-3-2 rhythm, I use that in lots and lots of tunes. And in this tune, because of the way he cycles it, it's sometimes the 2 comes first. So it's 2-3-3. Okay. So let's play it. Oh, one more thing, Jacques Brune. So in the tune book, it says that this older gentleman was associated with a pipe band that Gordon Duncan was the pipe major for. It was a youth pipe band, I think near Athol. Okay, let's go ahead and play. Yeah, so that's an interesting and somewhat different kind of tune. It's quite popular. I've heard it at jam sessions before.
And about that.
Yeah, about that pace.
Really?
Yeah.
And I think that this tune, I hear a lot, and they play it and then it just stops. And this feels like one of those tunes. This and Press for Time feels like one of those tunes that needs to be an intro to a big set.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to get to the end of that and have like a fermata, and then just kick it up to like 120.
Right, and then like bam,
Go nuts.
nuts reel. Right. Sure, I could get on board with that. Okay, so speaking of slow reels, on page 24, we have another one, The Struggle. And this is from another very talented piper, Doogie Pincock. He played with the Battlefield Band at one point. I met him many years ago. When he was playing, it was when I lived in New York, which was only for 2 years. So I can pinpoint, I must have met him in like 91 or something. And so he was playing in New Jersey, and I went to see him. Anyway, let me play it for you. I mean, you couldn't, this would also make kind of a cool fast reel, but I do believe it's customarily played slow. Another mesmerizing tune. So let's try it just a little slower than that tempo, just to get acquainted with the tune, and then we'll bring it back to that tempo. And I have to say, I'm sorry that I don't know more about the background of this tune, exactly when it was written. What was the struggle? Good question. Maybe somebody knows that story. I don't know it. I couldn't find it online.
Do you have anything to say about the collection? Because I've seen a bunch of here from Geordie Syme.
Yeah, so the Geordie Syme is just the name that the Ohio Scottish Pipers have for their book of tunes. Geordie Syme was one of them. He's passed away, but he was the one who said, hey, we should collect the tunes we like to jam on small pipes together
Okay.
and put it
Because
together.
I thought that was I have that book. Is this the yellow book or?
I don't know if it's yellow.
There is another book called the Geordie Symes Collection of Excellent Tunes or something like that. There may be an because Geordie Syme was also a 18th or 19th century border piper or small piper.
Mm-hmm. Right. So this is not that old.
Okay, so this is a completely different. I was
That's
wondering
right.
because this is a collection of largely older tunes, the one I'm thinking of, and I was like, wow, I'm surprised there's so many modern tunes in it. But no, this is,
No. So this is the Ohio
remind me to
Pipers.
show you that collection next month.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing this
Other Geordie-
18th century Geordie Syme.
Well, it's not it's a collection of 18th century tunes. It's a modern collection.
Oh, okay.
But it's also called it's like Geordie Syme's piece of tunes or parcel of tunes or something like that. Because
Okay.
he was there was I think an early 19th century Geordie Syme piper.
Okay, so there really is a historical
Figure
Geordie
in Geordie
Syme.
Syme,
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
But this is
Right.
their house.
Interesting.
This is their house book.
Right. So the Ohio Scottish Art School pipers who like to jam on small pipes have put together this collection
Okay.
of tunes they like to play. And it's forever changing.
Okay.
They add stuff to it. They say, oh, we want to learn that one too. And then sometimes they say, who put this one in there? Because it's gone out of favor or whatever. Anyway, they were kind enough to share that with us fiddlers so that we could all jam with them more easily. And that was really cool. The last tune is one that it's just an example of things going around. So Joseph MacDonald's Jig. Joseph MacDonald was the brother of Patrick MacDonald. Patrick MacDonald was a fiddler and minister in the Highlands of Scotland in the 1700s. He put together the first published collection of Highland fiddle tunes in Scotland. And that was published in the 1780s. I always forget whether it was 1784 or 87. I think it was 84. 84. And anyway, he had a bunch of friends and his brother Joseph who went around collecting tunes for him. Of course, he went around collecting tunes as well. So he has song tunes, he has pipe tunes, he has fiddle tunes, he has harp tunes. In the book that he published, they're not differentiated so much. But the truth is, a lot of the pipe tunes, particularly in certain sections of the books, were collected by his brother Joseph. So in Patrick MacDonald's collection, this is just number 1 in the North Highland Dance section, and it only has 2 parts in that book. But it's not that strange, really, that pipers got hold of Patrick MacDonald's collection and started playing the pipe tunes out of it, because it's the only source for some of these pipe tunes. That pibroch that I recorded, the finger lock, the pipe source for that pibroch is Patrick MacDonald's collection. And it's the fiddle version of the pibroch that is the basis of the piper's version that's in use today. Because that is by far, by decades, like 80 years, the first published version of that tune. So anyway, it's not a surprise that pipers are mining this fiddle tune book for pipe tunes. And in the way of pipe tunes, when they got hold of this North Highland Dance number 1, collected by Joseph MacDonald, and it only had 2 parts, somebody said, hey, this would make a great 4-part tune. Let me add a couple parts to it. So then I got this version from Dan Emery, who's a piper who lives in Pennsylvania. And he told me that the 3rd and 4th parts were written by Duncan McGillivray. And apparently quite a while ago. And so here's the fiddle, a pipe tune collected in a fiddle collection, played by fiddlers, released into the pipe world, added 2 more parts back in the fiddle world. So it goes around and comes around. And I'm going to call it Joseph MacDonald's Jig, because let's call the 4-part version Joseph MacDonald's Jig. actually had a little bit of a hard time playing it exactly as written because I'm used to the Patrick McDonald version of the first two parts, and it's slightly different. A couple of notes are different. If you want to look at that, it's in Fiddle Club, book 4, page 1. So you can compare the original North Highland Dance as published in Patrick McDonald with this version, if you'd like. All right.
Once again, the third and fourth parts are fill parts.
That's right. It's really similar to the model of that Fitty Boatman tune that we opened with. All right, here we go. Okay, anybody for playing the ones we learned by ear over again? Fitty Boatman? Fitty Boatman, here we go. All right, so that's our tour through some, I think, rather interesting and varied pipe tunes. Some 4 parts, some 2 parts, some 3 parts, some slow, some fast. Different takes on what is a reel, and the difference between marches in 6/8 and jigs. So I hope you had fun. I certainly had fun with these, and it was hard to winnow it down. I had a list of, I had to narrow it down from these.
Wow.
2 pages of tunes I wanted
Well,
to
the good
do
news
for
is we've
this.
got the same theme.
Oh
years
yeah,
to come.
next time that pipe music is called for, I guess I know where to look. But it was lots of fun. Some of these tunes are ones that I heard a number of years ago and have been thinking, yeah, I want to
Okay.
include that in Fiddle Club sometime.
Okay.
Finally did it.
Okay.
Others are quite new to me.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'm going to sign off for the people who are on the live stream. Thank you for tuning in for Pipe Tunes this month, and see you next month. Next Fiddle Club is the second Sunday of March.
Okay. Well, I need to email me that info and put it in.
So
Put it in.
we have a tune